protivnik toga da se arhivska građa seli u regiju.
I oppose the moving of the archival material to the region, particularly to Sarajevo, because peace does not reign in the area of the former Yugoslavia, but a truce. See you in the next war was the message of the soldiers when the Dayton Accords were imposed. The first thing that was destroyed in Sarajevo at the beginning of the war was the National Museum, and it's archived in order to destroy the identity of Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I am opposed to this, and we have informed about our view. We are opposed to the archive being moved to Bosnia and Herzegovina. We never know who would set out to destroy this archive. As far as our archives of our NGO, they're here in the books. A book was published 11 years ago listing every crime in English. We published information about the crimes 3 months after them. It's not a problem that the prosecution has recently launched proceedings, the facts of which were published in newspapers 15 years ago. I am a citizen of Croatia. We place our archives in the state archive because in that way we would like to strengthen.
And I got that.
Is it your own conference or?
Thank you. And may I appeal to all of you again, once again, to keep your questions and comments briefly. Lady in the red jacket and the person behind her. Yes.
Ja ću biti kratka.
I will be brief. I am speaking, again, I repeat, as a woman who experienced rape and sexual mistreatment. There are over 25,000 such women in our database, women who were raped, sexually mistreated, and many of them were killed. Archival material and the archive of the Hague Tribunal should be stored in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and it should be the property of Bosnia and Herzegovina. I will give you one example. I am glad that the head of the war crimes section is here, Mr. David Schwendner. Thousands and thousands of cases have been documented in Serbian camps left by representatives of the international community who saw that. And I handed them over personally to Mr. David Schwendiman in Bosnia and Herzegovina. These were camps for the non-Serbian population. 90% of them were Muslims and the rest, 10%, were Croats. For this reason, I propose that the archive be located in Bosnia and Herzegovina and that it be the property of Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Thank you.
Hvala vam kad sam mogla više jednom ja doći do riječi.
Thank you. Finally, I can speak. I am Hatidža Mehmedović, the president of the Association of the Srebrenica Mothers. I come from Bosnia and Herzegovina. I actually come from Srebrenica, the place where genocide took place. If victims have a voice, we ask that this archive be placed in Potočari. There is plenty of room. It should be under the jurisdiction of the central powers or authorities such as the Court of Bosnia and Herzegovina under the auspices of the United Nations. I have lost all the male members of my family, numerous close and distant relatives. I'm not the only such mother in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Many mothers have been left without anyone. I had 2 children. Today, I don't have them. Unfortunately, us, the families, request that documentation be located in one place in Potočari and to bear witness. This is our right. If we did not have any right to the protection of the lives of our children, at least we can request that this documentation be placed at the location where the genocide took place. I didn't come here only to talk about documents. This is a question for everyone, particularly for Carla Del Ponte. You say this material could be destroyed in Bosnia and Herzegovina or somewhere in those former ex-Yugoslavia states. There was evidence in this tribunal. Thousands of documents were destroyed, pieces of clothing, personal documents, items of clothing, dear mementos left our children. I did not have the possibility, please let me finish, to protect the life of my child. I do have the right to keep a memento of my child. They killed our children and they killed our memories. As families, we're going to seek the responsibility, including the responsibility of Carla Del Ponte. We would like to issue an indictment about that. We would like to know which person gave the authority for these items to be destroyed.
And then the panel will respond.
Dame I gospodo,
Ladies and gentlemen, honored gathering, well, this is this small Yugoslavia that used to exist as a state before. I'm Branislav Dukic, and I'm the president of former camp inmates of Republika Srpska. I'm listening to my compatriots, and I'm listening sometimes to those who mention the Holocaust and others. If anyone has the right to talk about the Holocaust and genocide, then the Serbs have that right, because we're not going to talk about 1918 here. We're not going to talk about 1941 and 1945 here, Jasenovac and all of the things that happened. We have passed through 536 camps kept by the then Muslims and what are Bosniaks now, 222 camps in Croatia and 21 camps in Slovenia, where Serb Orthodox people were interred of the then Yugoslavia. I'm one of those people, unfortunately. Well, you can see how upset I am. The man who tried me in the court of Bosnia and Herzegovina is sitting here today. Should I believe anyone? Should this documentation be allowed to be moved there? I came back with all my teeth knocked out, with my ribs broken. I was raped in that court. I was raped in the Viktor Bubanj barracks, in the central prison, in Hrasnica, in many other camps. I went through 4 of them. Is it necessary to talk here about who is a victim and who is a fascist? Because this is how these people are referred to here. If the United Nations, through the BBC, please, I'm asking you. I came from Republika Srpska. I lived in Sarajevo. So allow me today this opportunity. I was a witness at the International Tribunal in The Hague.
We'll get more opportunities to talk about your experiences. This panel is here for a particular purpose, and I'd like you to conclude now, and I'm going to give the mic to Natasha. Thank you.
For a start, perhaps it would be good to provide an explanation of what it is meant by original documentation and what are copies of sets of court documents. Perhaps it would be then easier to understand that the originals are not something that we, associations of victims, the public, and human rights organizations necessarily require. We require sets of copies of the archive because they should be as accessible as possible. But I wanted to talk about the idea about information centers. We heard this morning an idea about producing transcripts in local, in our languages. And then there is the second idea now coming from the tribunal to create information centers in all the ex-Yugoslavia states. These are projects of the Hague Tribunal. I am afraid of this orientation of the tribunal, whereby it would be gradually turning itself into an NGO. And as it is a tribunal, perhaps they feel that they will easily have access to funds. I don't feel that this is a good way. I am not a supporter of these information centers because I believe that education, collective memory building, a kind of retrospective about what happened here at the tribunal. This is our social need. We are the ones who need to work on that, while the Hague Tribunal, the Hague Archives, and many experts who developed by working in the tribunal would need to assist us in this. There are different needs in the region, in the ex-Yugoslavia states. Perhaps somewhere it would be a good solution to create an informative center. Somewhere this would not be a good idea. But I'm quite sure that at this stage the tribunal would need to listen more to what the local idea is about what is important, instead of offering to us projects that they would implement. This is simply not a good thing. This is not the way to preserve the reputation of the tribunal, which keeps losing its foothold. It's not good for the tribunal to boil down to projects. Ultimately, these transcripts is something we began 5 years ago. This is not part of the vision of the tribunal. Let them help in matters that are important to us. But what we consider to be important to us, it's up to us to create society with compassion and solidarity in terms of all the victims. Let us not create projects and then declare them to be important components of the residual mechanism. We need education. We need to construct our historic collective memory. Allow us to do things at the local level. Please don't come with ideas whereby some new mechanisms would be introduced which would not actually be of assistance to us. The outreach program was not of much use to us either because it came completely from the top. We need initiatives from the ground up. This is